Frank Lampard most definitely outclassed Ole Solskjær in the FA Cup semi-final. But in their previous 3 meetings, it was Manchester United who were able to come out on top, as Chelsea were unable to deal with Ole's tactics in every single game. So, how exactly did Lampard manage to outclass Ole in such an important match? We will look at both teams' tactics to understand how Lampard finally broke the curse, leading Chelsea to victory against Manchester United for the first time this season. Ole has found success whenever he uses 3-4-1-2 against stronger teams, because he targets the high line with his pacey forwards, while everyone else focuses on nullifying the opposition's game plan. This playstyle has been particularly effective against Chelsea's usual game plan, as you can see. And so, Lampard had to start from scratch and come up with a new game plan. The only thing he had to go by was that United would line up similar to how they've done in the past. So he devised his tactics accordingly. Let's take a quick look at Ole's game plan so we can better understand what Lampard did to turn the tide in his favour. Ole's 3-4-1-2 is extremely effective against 4-3-3 as it targets the build-up play. To do that, Ole has tasked Bruno to mark the pivot in 4-3-3, while United's other midfielders take care of the remaining midfielders. The 2 forwards are in charge of pressing near centre-backs, while cutting passing lanes to full-backs behind them. In case the opponent get the ball to a full-back, the wing-backs are tasked to come up and force the full-back to go back. This tactical game plan has worked wonders for Ole Solskjær in the past, netting him some huge wins against stronger teams. But this time around, it was Lampard's time to be in the spotlight. It was imperative for Lampard to make United's press ineffective, because that would hurt United in 2 ways. If United's press was ineffective, United can't dispossess their opponents in dangerous areas and will have to play through Chelsea's press to get near final third. On top of that, United can't stop their opponents from advancing towards their box. So, as opposed to what it looks like on paper, Chelsea played a 4-2-3-1 when playing from the back. Lampard went with a double pivot and had a player in each half space with Willian in middle, because he wanted to target United's midfielders. Since Willian and the players in half spaces successfully occupied United's 2 midfielders, keeping them back, United's forward were left on their own to take care of Chelsea's double pivot. And considering how Ole wanted United to press, Lampard's double pivot was crucial, because this gave Bruno 2 players to mark by himself instead of just 1. If United wanted to mark the double pivot, they were able to, but the forwards had to stay very narrow to achieve that. And with United's wingbacks having to worry about players in half spaces, United left huge spaces on the flanks, allowing Chelsea to bypass United's pressure no matter what Ole had in mind. Once up the field, Lampard wanted Alonso and James to go all the way up on their respective flank. This was done to take United's wingbacks out of the game. Meanwhile, Mount and Willian stayed in their half spaces and drifted inside when needed. Giroud was encouraged to exploit the space between United's 2 midfielders, but only if the gap was wide enough. Because Lampard wanted his striker to always be ready for a long ball, since that was his contingency plan. Lampard wanted something to fall back on in case Chelsea found themselves in a difficult spot. So, he used Giroud's aerial presence to get Chelsea out of trouble when needed. All this ensured that Lampard was tactically superior over Ole throughout the match, as Chelsea were able to play through United no matter what the men in red tried to do. That's how Chelsea were when they had possession. When United got on the ball, Lampard wanted Ole to have a taste of his own medicine. So Lampard tasked Willian and Mount to cut passing lanes to United's wingbacks and press the near centre-back. Giroud pressed the centre-backs and made sure to keep United from rotating to opposite side. Meanwhile, Jorginho and Kovacic came up to make sure United's midfielders can't get involved. Chelsea's wingbackers' main priority was to stick tight with United's wingbacks. This greatly disrupted United's build-up play, forcing Bruno to drop very deep just to get involved, who would then try to find a forward in behind Chelsea right away. This is pretty much what United were restricted to thanks to Lampard's tactics. United were having an extremely difficult time trying to play through Chelsea's press. Even when United's players played through Chelsea's press initially, they still wouldn't have enough time and space to move the ball comfortably. I'm aware that United had just 48 hours less rest than Chelsea, But it would be unfair to blame the loss on just fatigue, because even players who had ample rest were being poor throughout the match. That actually ended up playing a part in all goals scored by Chelsea. For the first goal, Lindelof was awful as he let Giroud pass him and score a goal. De Gea not at fault here. But for Chelsea's second goal, De Gea's mainly at fault. Williams too, but to a lesser extent, as he only gifted Chelsea possession in a dangerous area. It was De Gea who parried the shot into goal. For the third goal, United's captain ended up scoring in the wrong end, increasing Chelsea's lead even more. Chelsea did well to make the match as uncomfortable as possible for Manchester United, leading to them making mistakes which eventually resulted in a few goals, and could have easily scored more. Whereas United were only able to get a goal thanks to a penalty late in the game, which Bruno scored, but it was too little too late. Although it was unfair to have one team rest considerably more than the other, Manchester United clearly got outclassed by Lampard's tactics. Ole was unable to react in time to get his team back into the game, resulting in Chelsea eliminating Manchester United from the FA Cup to progress where they will face Arsenal in a London derby final. What do you think about Lampard and Ole's tactics? I would love to hear what you have to say, so let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed the video, share it with someone you know. It really helps. Follow me on social media, links in the description.